Brian John Spencer is an artist, writer and political cartoonist. Born and bred in Belfast, Brian spends his time in his Bushmill studio on works depicting Northern Ireland's luscious landscapes, rich architectural heritage, and rubs shoulders with some of Ireland's and Britain's most renowned sporting figures. Brian, just to start us off, can you just give us a broad overview of your journey into the arts and the kind of things that you like to create?
As a child, I was very inclined towards art, drawing, so on and so forth. But growing up in the late 90s, early 2000s, going to grammar school, it was very much orientated my schooling, careers advice, etc., towards the old profession. So I actually studied law for years. That's kind of a big aspect of what I do, because I'm a full-time artist now, but there's something a little frantic maybe when I look at the lost years. But also I'm very grateful that I'm able to actually do what I do. Some artists never get to become artists, full artists. My study, my studio, my day-to-day work is pretty simple. There's no real idealism or romanticism in it. Do high quality art at an affordable cost, and the key thing is, don't be spending days and weeks on it. It needs to be turned over pretty quick. I think we can all relate to that. As a 10, 11, 12, 13-year-old, when you're doing maybe GCSE art or you're in secondary school or whatever, and just to do one piece just takes so long. So that's the key. Just being quick, have a quick turnover. There's sort of three key things I do, and that's pets, people, and property. I always sort of joke, some people maybe want to draw the tree at the bottom of their garden, or a memorable hedgerow from their childhood, or the walk they go on, and then maybe think, I'll put it in a gallery and it'll sell. But that doesn't really maybe relate to someone else or resonate. Whereas we kind of know everybody really values deeply their property, or the house that they were born in or raised in, or the first house they bought, or their pet that they had as a child, or maybe they weren't allowed a pet as a child and they're in their 20s when they bought their first dog. There's a real power to that, and I find people want that drawn. Get your own portrait, or get a portrait of your father, your mother, your sister, or whatever. And that, again, something special and unique. Because I think, if you go back to the 1600s, 1700s, so it's the rich, the super rich, got these big fancy oil paintings done on themselves, but get it drawn done was beyond the realms of even imagination, really.
Brian, just to touch on the three P's of pets, people and property, how has the current pandemic impacted on your ability to create? Are you still able to engage with your clientele with possible art projects as well? Just how has the pandemic impacted on your overall ability to work and create?
So my lifestyle has changed very little. I can't go to my boxing club, I can't go to the local coffee shop, and I can't go to the pubs. Apart from that, my life hasn't changed like nil. And yeah, there's a few key days there where boom, 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 all the weddings got cancelled / postponed, award ceremonies get cancelled / postponed. No, I wouldn't say those are death blows or hammer blows, but it did knock me, and you think, holy moly, this is going to be bad. And I was sort of looking at it like, well, I haven't had a break, a chance to do what I want to do. It's these three categories that keep coming in. You do one high quality drawing of a dog, almost definitely you'll get at least one or two more. And actually that happened in recent days. I've got about 3 to do now. So yeah, that's kind of my point.
Brian, you've also dipped your toes into the world of political cartoons. Has the new pandemic brought about any opportunities for you to develop your craft in this field?
Very generally, quickly, before I comment on what I've done, I think, this always comes up when you discuss about political cartoons. If you got 9/11 attack or the London Bridge, how do the political cartoonists react? Some say don't do anything, others try to do very oblique works, others do more direct. When it comes to my work, I suppose I was inspired by there was a great cartoon, again, from the Telegraph, by a young by my age, maybe a bit older, far more recognisable and far more successful at this stage. But he did a cartoon of Boris Johnson pointing at a bulldog, a British bulldog, in his kennel, saying "stay." So I thought that was funny, and it made me think, oh, I must do something. So when we heard that he got the coronavirus, I thought, oh, I'll do him with a thermometer in his mouth, a la the Churchill cigar in his mouth, and then just standing outside number 10 doing the sort of that's hope, and then just the positivity that I got. I don't think it was critical. It was just sort of humor. Mm-hmm. It was a bit of humor, lighthearted, and that went down tremendously well. And in fact, it was my dad that said he really liked it. My dad's he's a post-World War II baby, so it's different generation, not as forthcoming with praise. But he said he really liked it, and that really encouraged me. So that made me do the second one, which is when Boris Johnson came out of intensive care, and he came out of intensive care on Easter Sunday 2020, which I sort of anticipated and was kind of hoping for, because you do the cartoon of the when Jesus came back to life, but I did Boris Johnson, he is risen, the resurrection.
You had drawn inspiration from World War II propaganda, and perhaps through your art tried to draw parallels between the British and Irish public's response to two very different global crises, one being World War II and the other being the current pandemic that we currently find ourselves in. I'm sure you know what picture I'm talking about, but can you tell me how the idea came about, how you executed it, and how it's been received by the public?
I'd been thinking about it for a while. People have been sharing old Second World War posters. They maybe changed it a little bit, keep calm and carry on. Mm-hmm. And those posters, that sort of look of art, it's sort of like Art Deco, or that sort of, those sort of painting work, like the Ulster Travel posters from the 20s, 30s, 40s. To me, that resonates deeply. That's some of my most favourite art that I revere and aspire to the most. So I've been thinking about it. Been sort of, art doesn't just come out spontaneously. It sort of mulls like a fermentation process, like wine or whiskey or whatever. And I've been thinking about it. I sort of scoured the old World War II posters and came up with my own remix. And took a bit of time. I did that Ulster Stay Home, or Ulster Says Go Home first, and it wasn't satisfying. So again, I get this restlessness that I need to satisfy. So then I produced that other one of they will say this was our finest hour. A soldier sitting on the sofa, because maybe suggested there, it's gonna be like challenging periods, trying to produce a bit of art.
Could this prolonged period of self-isolation and restricted social interaction maybe instill a newfound appreciation for the arts and public arts within the public and across communities here in Belfast? In the case of human nature, very often we want what we can't have. Do you think this could perhaps be the case when it comes to a newfound appreciation for the arts?
I would like to see it reach wider after this. Certainly, you're right to say, when we have it, we don't want it, and when we don't, we want it. Maybe the Ulster Museum's going to have to do a big shebang when this all lifts. All the tourists, the tour guides, the art tour guides, they're going to have to do something special, and people will want that. So yeah, I think there's an opportunity there to capitalise on when the lockdown lifts. Then when it comes to more generally making it accessible, I think you just again need to look at the attitude that we have. As I said, schooling for me was in the late 90s, early 2000s, and arts was just a no-go. It was sort of like, right, you're of age now, put away those playthings. It's not for adults and young people. So yeah, I would like to see more. Yeah, just more encouragement, more funding, more accessibility, more facilitators, because you can only get into it if you have role models and sort of not gatekeepers, but enablers and facilitators. Also, I was asked by someone, long story, but it was in a Jaggy Nettle, great bar, and a guy saw me work. He was actually leaving a painting of his sister bar murals putting up on the wall, and someone said they liked it, wanted me to paint the house they were raised in, and then the church they were baptised in, up in West Belfast. Now, I'm from South Belfast, and I would be more in East Belfast or South Belfast. And it was just amazing up there in West Belfast, seeing them on art, mainly positive art, and just compare and contrast the two communities. So it'd be interesting if we could see a wee bit more of that forthcomingness with paint in South and West East Belfast.
I would like to draw you back on your work which explores the rich architectural heritage that Belfast has to offer. Have you been out with your canvas painting? Have you been staying at home? And is it important that some artists go out there and try to document in some way this period of lockdown, and to get a sense of what the pandemic was like for future generations?
Yeah, you know what I'm actually really, really inspired by? You're talking about, this is a cynical quote, but people say, like, don't let a good crisis go to waste at some, for the financial markets. But we always say that, you can look at a glass half full or half empty, and, a pessimist and optimist. One door opens, another door closes. There's always opportunities. What is just so awe-inspiring to me is, I can't remember where it is, but somewhere in like sort of County Down somewhere, I don't know if it's an arts group, but it's like a knitting group. You know what they've been doing? They've been making scrubs and face masks, and I'm just going, holy moly, that is so amazing, so inspiring, so invigorating. I'm thinking already of one person I know who does knitting as an art as an artist. I wonder, he's in London now. I don't know if he's doing that. But there's opportunity for tactile artists. You hear about people who've got 3D printers. There's a guy over in England. He's printing out. He's only getting 13 a day, but that's 13 extra full visor face masks. So that's sort of the opportunity for the sculptor and the tactile person, the practical person. As for the empty streets, yeah, it's pretty eerie. Like 28 days later. Remember, like 2 or 3 weeks ago, leaving the studio. It's like 4:30 on a Friday evening, and I was just walking up Donegal Square past City Hall, and it was just empty everywhere. Me up the middle of the road. As for there's artists could get out, draw, paint, and capture the desolate reality that we now live in, and we will need to and want to look back on. As for me, it's really, really weird. Sometimes things turn out well, Murphy's Law, other times bad. Timing, can't plan it, but it happens. But I was saying to my wife when this first all went down, I was like, holy moly, this happened this time last year. This would have just turned my life upside down, because this time, when this all broke out, I was in New York, the flipping global epicenter of it. So that would have been screwed. Then June 2019, more or less this time last year, I was back in New York for a second stint. Then in July, I had to paint at 12 and do different things. I then went late July. I was painting the British Open. Imagine this time last year, next thing to be cancelling that. But we had that happen. That was something we've been looking forward to about 6 or 7 years. Imagine that got cancelled. And then at the end of that week, I was then in France, in the north of France, painting a wedding. There was a couple other things that happened later on in August. Whereas for whatever reason, I don't know why, but this year, it's sort of like I remember thinking, I did this consciously, that I needed a time to just sort of bed down. Remember I was talking about the fermentation process. Sometimes it's like violent and it needs stirred up. But I just felt with the amount of travel I've had over recent years, I needed a time, months, even years, of just sort of like just getting the head down and doing some hard work, hard output. So it's just very good timing for me that a lockdown fits in with my schedule, and it honestly hasn't perturbed me at all, apart from a few events. I had we gone into lockdown this time last year, I'd be pulling my hair out. I'd be nearly having a nervous breakdown, because it would have just thrown everything upside down for me. So I'm very fortunate.
Across the UK and Ireland, communities have came out to show their support for frontline healthcare workers and the NHS in general. As an artist, do you harbour any ambitions to create any work that reflects the show of unity from the British and Irish public?
Well, you've got Quentin Blake, who did all the paintings for Roald Dahl. He's done a load of illustrations and done the rainbow, and he's going to auction them off, raise a bit of money for the NHS. Then you've got, and there's probably tons more examples of that. You've got every single child on the island, or these islands, I don't know exactly, certainly I've seen in Belfast, putting up rainbows. So they're all sat in painted rainbows, put them in their window. Then you've got that wall in West Belfast where they put the big NHS, which is amazing to see. Then the other two things I'm thinking of is the likes of Quentin Blake. I can't remember, it was like Great Ormond Street or a hospital like that. He actually went in and painted on the walls, I think. This is a few years ago. It was sort of in the children's ward, just to inspire and to uplift. Then also you've got William Scott, famous painter. He was born in like Enniskillen. Then he was 10, moved over to England. Most people wouldn't know who he is, but he's very famous. You might recognise his work. I think he was commissioned to paint these huge big murals out in Galvin in the 70s or 80s. So I'm sort of thinking, I'm then feeling guilty, thinking I need to do a mural, I need to do a rainbow, like whatnot. I need to go into the hospital and lift these nurses up, because I would have done some of these NI health conferences. So I don't know lots of them, but I know some those doctors. You know, I know George O'Neill and your Mr. the McBride, the health surgeon guy. You know, I'm sort of thinking, should I be going in there and doing some sketches and to lighten the mood? Should I do a mural for them? So, art has tremendous power, and those are some examples, and it's making me feel guilty that I'm not doing a wee bit more. And just in terms of considering the fragility of life on this planet and our bodies to this invisible fiend, this invisible enemy, just how vulnerable we are. I think, we certainly will have to have a recalibration of the way we look at and the way we do things and the way we look after each other and ourselves.
Do you have any advice for families and individuals on how to stay creative during the lockdown, and how can people find out more about you? How can I get in touch?
Yeah, really go to my website or my Instagram. Just type into Google Brian John Spencer, and as I say on my Instagram, you know, just DM or email. The email is on the website and Instagram for studio visits, for communication, inquiries, so on and so forth. Also check out my YouTube channel where you can see where I've documented my art, previous exhibitions and thoughts and travels and what have you.
Brian, it was an absolute pleasure speaking with you this afternoon. We hope you and your family stay safe and well. More importantly, that you stay creative throughout. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.